Welcome to Stick 'em Up. I'm Mike Felumlee. This is Mustafa Daka.
Yes.
Yes. We're gonna. This is our.
This is how it's gonna go from now on.
So we don't know what we're doing, but we know what we're doing. So we thought it would be a fun idea. Mustafa actually thought it would be a fun idea to have a show where he and I talk about drumming and drums and stories over the years that we've learned and experienced.
I think it got too weird to just like talk drum stuff online, like through text message. It's like we should just do a show about it.
But a year ago today, we had Mustafa's band, the Brokedowns, in here for a Live from the Rock Room session. And I think it was just shortly after that. It was about 2 a.m, and Mustafa sent me a Facebook message, and it said, "Hey,
you up?"
Yeah, you up? Like,
hey, you up?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he said, "I got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
This might be cool, but I'm really high."
Yep. And you know what? Some things never change.
Yeah, I love the idea. Like, and the funny thing is, like, I'm not that into drumming. I've been a drummer for 30 years in a number of bands, and Mustafa's been playing forever. I'm not that into drumming, but over the years, Mustafa and I are both self-taught players, and we've toured, probably played thousands of shows collectively, and we've learned a lot along the way, and we thought it'd be cool to just share some of what we've learned and try to communicate that in, like, plain English, because I don't know how to speak musician.
Yeah, me neither. And I always like, and sometimes I don't even know how to pronounce those words. Or if I do, I still don't think that I do. So I just try to like find like a real like simple way to kind of explain it, especially to people that are not just drummers, like, but people that like might just want to kind of get involved.
And hopefully share some funny tour stories and show stories. I'll start by asking Mustafa. So, first off, how old are you, Mustafa?
I'm 34.
34.
I'm 34 years old, yep. And I've been playing drums since I was like in 5th grade. But like 4th grade is when I started doing like the buckets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To try to like, and pillows, try to recreate like what I was watching on this like Guns N' Roses Live in Tokyo VHS tape that I stole. Only because my parents wouldn't pay for it. It wasn't like, you know, I wanted it really bad, and they said that there was like foul language on it, so they didn't get it for me. But I got it myself, and used Matt Storm to kind of teach me. But that actually taught me separation. You know, like limb separation. Like I was kind of like watching them, and that actually helped. But it didn't help with kick drum because I couldn't see what his foot was doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to do any hi-hat sheps or anything like that either.
What's a hi-hat shep? Okay.
You know, open
I never
it up,
heard
close
that
it.
term.
I just heard that recently. Yeah, I just thought it was like a hi-hat sizzle. I'm like, give me some of that hi-hat sizzle. But it's a hi-hat shep, apparently, unless whoever said it made it up, and now here I am saying it. Trying to teach people what a hi-hat shep is, and it's not even a thing. But yeah, so I didn't get like my real drum kit till I got like a little kid's drum kit when I was like a fully sized kid, but I love that thing, you know what I mean? And I didn't get a real drum kit until I was like in the 6th grade, and that's like the first time I played a real drum kit too. And but at that point I already knew separation, and my band teacher, who like wasn't even my band teacher, like the kid like let me, you know, like ask the band teacher if I could play the drum kit because I like expressed interest, and so he was kind of like impressed that I taught myself separation. So ever since then I was in like his band through middle school and high school, and like dudes helped me out a lot. That's John Gorman.
John Gorman.
Shout out to John Gorman.
So you told me you were self-taught, but you had a band teacher, so you like...
Oh, dude, I faked it.
Did you learn like rudiments and shit, though?
I watched,
Okay.
like no, I never asked anyone. Like no one showed me. It was one of those things where I was so nervous that I would like fuck up in front of everyone, and they'd all laugh at me. That it literally, you know, when they say "fake it till you make it," that's what I did, and it worked. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, "Oh my god, I got like, holy shit, these guys haven't figured me out yet." You know, they don't know that I'm like just this is a scam, you know,
Yeah.
and that I was like a fraud. But yeah, so that's what I did. I remember the only time I ever had a lesson was to learn how to play a Latin like samba beat, and I got that right away. So that was it. It was like one lesson, and then I sold my teacher weed. This is what I was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So some teacher that was.
Holy
Yeah.
cow. Wow.
Yeah, but I had one samba lesson.
Okay.
So that's what I've had. You've never done any?
No, I've done a couple lessons.
What did they go over?
I already knew how to play drums by the time I went to him.
You just kind of wanted to learn a couple of things.
And then he gave me like books to learn like with the drum music in there, and I didn't ever learn how to read the drum music.
Yeah.
So the lesson would come, and I'd just be like, "Could you just play that?"
Yeah, that's usually how I would do it too.
Yeah, so then he'd play it.
Watching.
And then I would play it.
Yeah.
And it got to the point with him where like I wasn't learning to read, and I wasn't like practicing the stuff. So he's like, "If you're not gonna do this and this, then there's nothing more I can show you." I'm like, "Okay, I guess we're done."
Yeah.
It's like I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna learn how to read the
Yeah.
music. I don't want to.
I learned how to read kind of like, you know, like one dude was like, "Hey, idiot, right on the bottom is the bass drum. That's the snare drum." So like, and drum music is like probably the easiest of all music to read. But I can't sight read. I can't like not listen to a song ever, look at it, and then like when I look at music, I could see hits, but I can't see feel, you know, or anything like that. So like in jazz band and stuff, I like the jazz teacher. I think like it was an unspoken thing. Kind of figured out that I didn't know how to read music, but that I couldn't sight read, but I could read. So he would always like have a recording of the song or something like, "Hey, let's listen to it real quick," and I'd like look at the chart while I was listening to it and just be like, "Okay, so this section is like this beat, then I do this," and then just watch and then I would just watch him for all the kicks. But yeah, that's it. Like, and it was like just kind of like one of those things where I like the only reason I knew how to read music a little bit was because I was like freaking out that they would figure me out. What about you? Like, when did you start playing in bands, and when did you go on your first like weekend warrior?
I learned, you know, some beats, and then got in some goofy punk bands like Cardiac Arrest and 3 Mile Island and Article 1. And then shortly after, like, those bands were like a couple years, and then like 1990, 91, Article 1 played a show with the Smoking Popes in Crystal Lake. And that was like the one Smoking Popes show that I was not the drummer of the Smoking Popes, was at the Belt House Hall in Crystal Lake in like 1990 or real early 91. They had a drummer named Dave Martins. He played that show. We opened for them. And then somehow they had some other shows booked. Dave, they couldn't find him. And they remembered me from that show. They're like, "Oh, that kid was pretty good." And like,
"Hey, who's the only other drummer we know?"
Yeah. And they didn't even know me. They were just, so they knew somebody that knew me, and they remembered watching our band thinking like, "He's all right." So like Josh called me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be in our band?" And they had only played, they were Speed Stick before that, who were like kind of popular, but they're more like a joke band. And they called, and in my mind at that time, because they were from a different town, they were from Lake in the Hills, which was like 6 miles away, but like I was like 16 or whatever,
Yeah,
like that's far. And I was like, they were a bigger band. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And so we practiced, and then from then on, I was in the Smoking Popes, and then played in a few other bands. You know, Popes were like 91 to late 1998. Then did a short stint in Alkaline Trio when they kicked Glenn out of the band, and Glenn and I went to junior high and high school together. So
had the
like,
same teacher?
Had the same teacher.
Yeah.
We were like the two drummers in Crystal Lake. Like, so every Crystal Lake punk band almost for like from like 1989 to like 92, like me or Glenn was the drummer in the band because like we were the two guys that could like actually play. So, and I didn't know Matt and Dan from the trio real well. Like we had played some shows together in different bands, but when they kicked out Glenn, it was kind of the same thing. Like they knew somebody that knew me, and they're like, "Well, he's pretty good." And like Matt and Dan were both fans of Smoking Popes, so they called me and like, "You want to be in our band?" I'm like, sure. So I did that for a couple years. I did a couple like brief tours with Squirt Gun, drummed for them on a couple tours. Played for on a record by This Is Me Smiling, which is like one of the coolest records I've ever drummed on that nobody has really ever heard. And then now like back with the Smoking Popes again. So that's kind of like the short story of.
Yeah.
But we didn't cover like you joined the Brokedowns in what year?
In 2002.
2002. And you're still currently an active band.
Yeah.
How many years is that? 2002 to 2017?
15.
15 years. He's been playing in the Brokedowns. You play in another band.
Before that, wait, is that what you were saying?
Well, you currently play in another band. Your active
yeah.
band's Post Child.
Yeah, Post Child is pretty busy these days. High Priests have an album coming out, and I've been with those guys for like 4 years, I think. Post Child probably about 2.5, 3 years. And then I'm in a band with Mikey from High Priests and John Polydoris from Off of Their Heads Vacation Bible School, and Jonathan Poole from like Brick Fight and Fuck You Idiot. He's in that band. Can I say idiot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Idiot's fine.
Yeah. So, and we got a band called Arsenal of Wives that haven't really played in a while, but John's busy. Both Johns are actually really busy right now. Anyway, so there's that band, and then I'm in a 3-piece stoner metal band, like stoner rock band, called Tombstone Eyes, and jamming with a couple other people.
Cool. That's a lot of things. The Brokedowns and Post Child, you can see videos on Live from the Rock Room on this channel of them. So if you are unfamiliar, find their videos in our playlist here, and you'll enjoy it, I think. You should. I enjoy it. So, hopefully, if it, we're gonna have tons of episodes, lots of different topics, and if you, the viewer, have anything you want us to discuss, like send us a Facebook message, mention it in the comments in the videos. Like we're pretty much open to anything anybody wants to talk about.
Yeah, and if you're a drummer and a drummer friend. Or just a drummer and you want to be friends with us, hit us up. We might have you on the show, especially if you got something that you think we should talk about that you're passionate about. Explain it to us. We're here. We're here for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we want to learn, but we don't want to we don't want textbooks. We just want bullshit. You know what I mean? Let's just bullshit about drums. That's what we're here to do. But let's bullshit about drums. Let's keep it interesting, and let's not try to bore each other or anyone else to death. So hit us up.